Supreme Team, in terms of their operation, how much money do you think they made with drugs and so forth?
You know, the feds used to come up with crazy numbers on them, like, you know, millions of dollars, you know, a year, thousands of dollars a day, back in the crack era. And then Supreme was fortunate at that time, I guess you might say, in that he pled out to a conspiracy, I believe, and went to jail and left the Supreme Team to his nephew, Gerald Miller, who street name was Prince. And that's when the Supreme Team got really violent. So they had the Baisley projects. They had a lot of different spots in Queens, mostly the crack trade. They murdered their sources of supply. At one time, 2 Colombian drug dealers were baseball batted to death and dumped out in some park in Queens, I think near Kennedy Airport. Super violent guys, violent for no reason, brought a lot of attention to themselves. And one by one, they got picked off. You know, the Supreme Team back then was guys like Prince, Baby Wise, Green Eyed Born, God B. These are all like 5%er names. And they all started getting picked off. And by the time Supreme came out of jail for his conspiracy, the world had changed a lot. The rap industry had changed a lot. You know, he was out when it was like guys like, you know, all the early hip hop kind of Def Jam groups. And so the world had changed. And yeah, he came out for the, I guess, the second wave of hip hop.
Well, I remember 50 Cent had a song called Ghetto Quran.
Sure, I know it, yeah.
And it starts off like this. He said, yo, when you hear talk of the South Side, you hear talk of the team. See N-words, feared Prince and respected Preem. For all you slow motherfuckers, I'm gonna break it down iller. See, Preem was the businessman and Prince was the killer.
Yeah, I know.
Is that true?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I had seen a lot of communications between Supreme and the Gotti brothers from their two-way pagers. And, you know, Prince was always reaching out from jail with different ideas. They wanted to make a movie about him. They wanted to make a show about him. And he was one of these guys, he went to jail. He was, you know, he's a sociopath and a psychopath. And of course, like every guy in jail with nothing to do, he reads Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and all those jailhouse books. And McGriff was bringing messages out to the Gotti brothers. And I think they had actually went to see him at one point. And, you know, to pay homage to a guy who baseball bats his source of supply to death and all that was strange. I mean, Supreme, I understand. He can give you protection. You get the street cred guy with you and your entourage. But Prince was, you know, he's just like, you know, he's the bottom. I mean, he's a bad guy and for no reason.
How many people did Prince kill?
You know, I don't know the numbers. I probably did at one time. The senseless murder of those 2 drug dealers always stuck out in my head. But then, you know, just lots of acts of violence. People didn't have their money right. You know, they were getting severe beatdowns and people getting shot for no reason. You know, and I don't know why, but guys like that, Fat Cat Nichols, Pappy Mason, they all thought they could get away with it. It was going to go on forever. It was very short-sighted. And how people who, I don't know if you've been out in that area of Queens, but it's not like tall project buildings all over the place. There's lots of row houses and stuff. And it always kind of surprised me that this super violence came out of what looks like an idyllic middle-class neighborhood. And it was just kind of a strange thing, you know, and guys who were more violent than anyone else in New York City at the time, too, you know.